Good morning. Today I'll be introducing one of the uh, really enterprising and innovative entrepreneur of India who has mainly focused on the agriculture and uh, what can be called as rural based enterprise. And I would like to introduce Mr. Ashok Kumar, who is who's been in this area for last 25 30 years and who's done a lot of innovative things and really made a name for himself and created enormous amount of wealth for our country and so many jobs and opportunities also he has provided for many people. And it's an inspiring story for anyone who is interested, who is innovative and wants to do something for the world and for the country and for themselves also. So Ashok, please tell a little bit about your background and your journey.
Hi everybody. I did my masters in agriculture, and then I got into. When I did my agriculture, there was one thing was certain: land is limited, population is increasing. Today or tomorrow, the better opportunity lies in food business. So that's how I got into farming. But when I got into farming by choice as a farmer, there are a lot of there are certain limitation, not only limitation, and there are certain restriction, and there are certain facilities which is not available like any other industry. Like you cannot scale it up due to various reasons. So 1989 I started a small enterprise. I was concentrating mainly on agriculture consultancy, and I was not earning enough. Then I had to add some trading activity. Then there was a lot of water shortage, and farmers wanted something innovative. So I got into drip irrigation. I was one of the first uh, few in the country to introduce drip irrigation in this part of the country, and I was fortunate enough that I could develop certain business relationship with a couple of companies from Israel. So we used to import the major components and the performing components like drips, mini sprinklers, all this we used to import it, because in those days there was nothing like even all sprinkler used to rotate 360 degrees in India. If you wanted half a circle or a quarter circle or even some minute things were not available. So we started importing. People liked those products, so they encouraged. They got benefited, and we also got into the model of not just drip irrigation. We got into the model of fertigation. So the whole concept here is like human beings, we eat every day. We require food every day. The plants are also living, and they also want everyday food and everyday the water and whatever required for the physiological activities. So the ideal way you can grow a plant is if you give everything what plant wants to the plant every day. So that way, like the one thing which was very useful to the in fact, instead of wasting imbalanced fertilizer application like just NPK, etc., which was creating a lot of problems. So when you give exactly what you want to the plant consumes, plant absorbs. Whether the plant is absorbing or not, we can study it by leaf analysis as well as soil analysis. Or we can even grow the plants without soil or without media, just with the water also we can grow that. So soil is just in a media to hold the plant. So I firmly believed on that, and this is what we promoted. And 92, I was good enough that most of the floriculture boom it happened in the country, and I was the one who was able to do quite a lot of business with most of the floriculture companies in India. So I was supplying them irrigation system, shade net, polyhouse designs and films, and the entire fertigation equipment. And we used to tell them how to use Indian raw material and fertigate. All this was done, and that was a turning point, you can say, in Indian agriculture. Till then, there was no greenhouses. Uh,
That was
greenhouse
the
tariff. Yeah, it was
pre-liberalization days.
pre-liberalized, 92. And dollar was less than 20 rupees, and then it became overnight 25 rupees. Things started becoming a little more expensive, and floriculture started, it did not it was not viable also. So government started supporting in later part with the National Horticulture Mission and all that. So that's how you see a lot of greenhouses today. In fact, I'm happy some of the structure when we see what we struggled and got at those time. Like today, everybody is greenhouse design is on the same way. You may not be aware, people from Israel and Holland, they used to sell a square meter of greenhouse for 2,500 rupees. In those days, we could make it with less than 300 rupees. So this is what made some turning point in Indian agriculture in plastic. So that was a innovative thinking, and in the process, what was happening, agriculture is always there is uncertainty. We play our life is with the water and market. It's a monsoon and market. That is a kind of situation. So I also started farming activity on leased land. I was growing ready-made turf. I was one of the of few, not one of the few. I was the first to introduce ready carpet grass for lawn. We used to make initially one by one tile, and later we developed a machine. We copied a machine from abroad, and we used to be able to take 1 by 3 and 1 by 4 ready-made carpet. And we
And
used to
your
have-
drip and
continued.
equipment was going on.
Yeah, then along with this, I was doing agriculture activity also. My agriculture activity was growing vegetables and growing this ready-made turf, and this I was selling it. And
Turf is that lawn grass.
lawn grass. So fortunately, it is unfortunate. Then I felt it is unfortunate that I was not having enough water to feed all this. So my story started with hunting for water. So it was always my life was farming was I could do farming, I could earn enough money, but the problem was water. So every now and then borewell is to get dried up. We had to drill new borewell, and that was not yielding enough. So then I had to shift myself from to a less water consuming activities such as grapes and horticulture crops, nurseries. In the process, I started even growing vanilla. I was one of the first few in this part of the country to grow vanilla, and I even sold it for those days around 22,000 rupees a kg of vanilla. So I made a decent money enough, and I could buy more land, and I could expand myself also. And in the whole process, I was also interested in animal husbandry. I started a dairy for the capital consumption of manure, because manure what you get from any farms, generally it used to have a lot of weeds and a lot of mucks. Everything from the village they used to put it in the manure yard, and those things if you put it in your garden, before even the plant takes the nutrition, you will find a lot of weeds and etc. So to avoid that, I started dairy farming, which is from generation, like my parents, my grandfather, everybody, they were fond of. Even I was also fond of. I started 100 cattle. I bought about 100 cows and made a proper system.
And even at that time, you were still continuing the drip irrigation and the other equipment business.
Yeah, that is what I was continuing. But 97, one fine day, I believe in keeping all my books clear, and I used to pay whatever taxes used to happen. And in the whole process, 91 onwards, my consultancy business also started booming up. I started working for DRDO. I started doing a lot of projects for them. I have done little more than few thousand acres for them, and it was all arboriculture, ecological, and a camouflaging activity. This was flourishing well. My drip irrigation business was flourishing well. My horticulture activity, which was also doing very well. But 97, there was one fine day, about 12 people, they walked into my office in the morning, and they said they are from income tax department. They started searching the whole business premises from morning to evening. and they could not get even whatever stock we had maintained. It was perfectly tallying to the book. Whatever other business accounts, bills, everything was fine. And they took so many, they sealed so many books, and they were asking me, you should pay this, you should pay that, and all that. So then that day I realized there's one business in this country which is agriculture. Nobody comes and questions, and nobody tells you what you should do and what you can't do, and you can't cheat plants. If you want to feed the plant, you have to feed on that day itself. If you say that I'm going to feed tomorrow, the plant is not going to wait, and plant is not going to give you the performance. The crop is not going to be to your expectation. So I said, let me be in a good business where there is nothing involved in cheating, because otherwise in any other business in India, even today, like my account gets scrutinized every year for a simple reason that I declare a huge agricultural income. They believe that agriculturists cannot earn money, and agriculturists are bound to be poor, and they can't afford to have a better living, and this is what is they have. And even that, to that matter of fact, if a youngster, if he says he's an agriculturist, he will not even get a girl. Nobody will propose him a girl also.
But actually, this is a false narrative.
It is a false narrative. Like agriculture is one business where you do the business in land. The appreciation of land, what we bought in few thousand rupees, it is in few lakhs, and some of the lands are in few crores. So that way, like the value of the property goes up, and if you have good water, and if you have decent size of farming, something like 50 acres or etc., we can do a good business. So I started with all this model of agriculture, and then in the later part of the things, I always used to believe in revenue model. I wanted to get money every day, so that I can spend money every day. So I got into milk, I got into flowers, and I got into poultry, where everyday production used to give me a handsome receipts every day.
So, in conclusion, we can say that agriculture is not as bad as it's made out to be. Seeing this farmer suicide and all that, actually, it's a good area if one approaches the subject in a scientific way and follows certain basic principles,
Yes.
which Ashok Kumar will be kind enough to share with us in future videos. Because the story is quite detailed, and I'd like to do justice to each subject in the coming videos. So, with this we'll conclude the first video, and you can look forward to seeing this as continue as a series.